Hello, hello, hello. Just coming in for a quick random update. Yeah, so the previous video I posted like a long time ago, right? I was working on this windmill game where you actually can like construct windmills and stuff like that. So I spent some time on it, did this quick prototype to get some, ideas and vibes, right? But I could not get like a gameplay loop that I actually enjoyed. The closest I think that would be some sort of a game would be some sort of a tower defense game. And it's like, sure, I can get a tower defense game where, you have, the windmill in the center, right? But it doesn't really make any sense. I really want the windmills to be like, slowly populating the landscape and stuff like that. And, if for a tower defense game with something in the center, right, I would think that, like a lighthouse would be more exciting, maybe some kind of horror vibes. But anyways, this game is, I'm putting this aside. Maybe I'll come up with something later on. But, yeah, so this game has been put on hold like months and months ago while I settle some other projects. So the game I'm actually working on right now, right, is a space combat sim. Haven't done any work on it yet, apart from working on the GDD, the game design document. So like today, right, I like got the story slash narrative outline complete. So I was like, I'm gonna take a break and just make a fun video just to update people. So yeah. So anyways, the space combat sim I'm making, right? It's basically inspired by games from the past. Wing Commander, X-Wing TIE Fighter, Free Space. I think I think probably Wing Commander, 3, 4, and Prophecy, as well as TIE Fighter, right? Probably these two are my biggest inspirations. Like Free Space, right? Free Space, I think it's a very polished space combat sim, but there's this aspect of like the characters in Wing Commander really draw me to that game. I think the combat in Free Space, right, is probably like the best of the three kind of games. Like, yeah, I just love how the the controls and stuff work. But like Prophecy or Wing Commander 4, right? Oof, I just love the story and the characters. X-Wing TIE Fighter, right? The story is alright, but I really enjoy the fact that you can actually like I like Star Wars less for the characters, but more for the craft. I really like the X-Wing, B-Wing, A-Wing, Y-Wing, Imperial Star Destroyers, and whatever, and Mon Calamari. I love the ship designs and stuff like that of the old, the was it the first trilogy? Because like yeah, the newer Star Wars, right? The episode 1, 2, 3, right? I feel the craft are very clean, even though they are presented to be the precursors to the X-wing, right? But okay, let's not ramble about this. And okay, so the combat sim, I really is like homage to all these kind of older games, right? So I think one of the things that I want to achieve, right, is like quick time to mission start, because like yeah, I just want you to get into combat or at least the mission, right, fast. So don't need to fuss around with like, oh, I'm taking off, I need to energize this, close the gear level covers and stuff like that. Yeah. So and another thing is hopefully I can come up with a control scheme, right, that's not too complicated. And I'm hoping to get all three kinds of inputs. So keyboard and mouse, gamepad, and joystick. I actually don't have a joystick right now. I think I have a Cytec. Crap, I can't remember the exact name, but it's a Cytec joystick and throttle. I'm pretty sure it's like melted somewhere in a storeroom back home. So I probably need to get like a newer, like some Logitech one or something like that. And I think every game needs wingman commands. So, and I would really like to do like fully voiced game during combat. I think yeah, again, right, like Wing Commander 1 is like what so long ago, and they have voice combat, and yeah, so I really want to do voice combat. Or actually, to be like perfectly accurate, right? The game that really made me want to do like fully voiced combat is Free Space 2. Like Free Space 2, right? Well, I'm not a the story for me is like ho hum, when you're in combat, right? When you get a chatter between like the chatter is directly related to what's happening on screen, right? So I feel like really immersed, during combat and stuff like that. So I really hope I can figure out budget and find voice actors and stuff like that to get this done. And and sorry, right, if you're a voice actor seeing this, please do not reach out to me, right? Because I do have friends that are doing voice acting. I will be approaching them first. So yeah, and I also know like which sites to go. So sorry about that. One thing I would like to do as well, right, is VR. Like I do have a VR headset, but I'm not sure if this. I'm gonna not sure whether that many people playing VR actually want to play a space combat sim. Especially like if I were to do VR, right, it's only going to be just for the head. Like the controls, right? You're still going to be using your joystick or keyboard or stuff like that. No, I'm like I really do not want to take the time to figure out virtual joysticks. Like some games, can't remember which games I played on the Quest, right? Yeah, they have like virtual joysticks and stuff like that. That works really well. But this is first and foremost. This is like not I'm not targeting VR first. So yeah, but just that's something I considered, but I'm just putting it aside. Okay, so anyways, like the main gameplay loop, right? It's gonna be like most of the other games. So you get mission briefing, then then I'll like you set up your flight for the next combat. So I'll talk about this later in the slides, right? But I'm going to have like parts where you can attach and detach from the ships in your flight. To yeah, for reasons which I'll explain in the next few slides. Then you go to combat, blah blah blah. So I think the combat is going to be exactly what you see in those early games. I just hope I can figure out how to do the game AI is like make a combat as exciting as it can get. I'm not sure if I can do that. I'm going to try. We'll see how it goes. And then once you finish combat, land on your carrier, get your debriefing, and then once you debrief, right, you go back into the start of the next mission and stuff like that. So between the debriefing and mission briefing, right, like here, right, this part here, right, this is where I'm probably going to do like the story and stuff like that. All right, so yeah, but okay, I'll talk about that in a later slide. Also one thing when I was like researching, looking up all these old games and playing a few of them before I started this, right, it's like I did not realize Wing Commander came out in 1990. It's like how old is that game? Oh my god, I thought it was like mid 90s or or later. No, it's freaking 1990. And I'm not sure. I don't know, like for the younger people watching this, right? Back in the day, right, you cannot play video on your PC. Like, you just can't. The PC wasn't powerful enough to play video, right? So the best they could do, right, was sprites and like 2D, like pixel art. And I think these hold up today. Like if you start up Wing Commander, right, you see this this group of outlines of the musicians playing the crescendo as the earth in the background and stuff like that. Yeah, I think at the time, like, we were just totally blown away. Like back in the day, right, to play a video CD, right, like a VCD, not even a DVD, a VCD, you needed special hardware installed in your PC just to be able to play a VCD. So there's no such thing as full motion video until like pretty damn late. And yeah, and later games like Wing Commander, can't remember which one was it with the full motion video. Was it 3 onwards? Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, but like Prophecy, right? Whew, they went all out with the sets and stuff like that. So, but basically, right, to do this, right, even just this like pixel art, right, you need a team, a team of people. I don't think, no, I cannot. I do not have the resources to do this as a single person. So, I just want to say, like, for a game that old, right, and the team, right, I'm still blown away by, the cutscenes and, the stuff like that. All right, so, in an attempt to cut down the scope, right, since I'm like a quote unquote solo dev, I'm just gonna, for the player, I'm just gonna have like one ship class, just like generic fighter class, you know. But that one, but obviously, like in other games, like you got like bombers, light fighters, and the freaking small little hornet thing. I can't remember what's the name in Prophecy, right? That launches all the missiles across the screen. Oh my god, I really love that ship. Um, but so I'm right now I'm thinking, right, I'm just gonna have just one ship, and then you add on parts to customize the ship. So like for maybe you want to be up and close with the enemy units, and you can configure your ship to become like a dogfighter or something like that. Give you like more thrusters, more boosters for faster acceleration. But in order to get that, to compensate for the extra maneuverability and speed, right? You get lesser shields, lesser armor, and just rely on your ability to just dodge around the battlefield. Then you probably have like a early warning electronic warfare class. So I guess this one is something like buffing the friendly units and stuff like that. Reduce missile lock time, increase the sensor range, and yeah, and in fact, right, like this unit, I'm putting somewhat a lot more attention on it, right? Because yeah, part of the story, I do want to use this to influence the story a bit. Yeah. That will be for the game. I won't be talking too much about that. Missile Boat is a class I might actually drop. I like Missile Boat. I'm really like inspired by some of like the Gundams, a very specific Gundam. Like I'm not sure if anyone knows, right? It's a Gundam GPO3 Dendrobium. It's like a mobile armor, and it can fire and it can do this like crazy ass missile barrage that is always stuck in my brain for a long time. So it's like, can I do something like that? But I'm not sure if it's gonna be like a fun thing or it's actually gonna be useful in the game. So we'll see how it goes. So this one is like question mark, and the last one is like heavy assault. So like I'm thinking like like every craft, right, probably needs like a heavy weapon, like something like a torpedo or something like that, right, in order to penetrate the hull of the capital ships and stuff like that. But if you put on some of the heavy assault weapons, yeah, you can directly do damage to the capital ships with them. So of course, since it can do so much damage, right, it's gonna have less maneuverability, but maybe more armor, just to compensate for because you're going on like a assaulting the capital ships, or maybe like stronger shields in the front or something like that. It's still up in the air. I'm still I'm not at the stage yet to figure out this stuff. So yeah, so this is how I'm hoping to like cut down the like modeling all the different like friendly units and stuff like that. However, you know I've already like written the outline for the story, right? And I do want to have a significant number of like different enemy units in the story. So for this will help me, I'll cut down the scope, just for the player side. But enemy units, I'm gonna have to model them. So oh well. Okay, so story and narrative. So this game, right, is gonna be set in the same universe as my previous game, 7821 Akuji. So at the end of that game, right, the canon ending is you successfully like rescue the scientists that are trapped inside the asteroid, and you make it to like on board a ship of some sort, right? So in this game, right, you are you're basically playing in the same timeline as what's going on there. So you're supposed to fly from the planet. There's this planet called Oceanus, which is like yeah, the main planet in the storyline, and your fighter wing, your carrier and stuff like that, right, are tasked to rescue these scientists in beside the asteroid, and then bring them back. And also, I think I missed writing down, right. At the ending of Akuji, right, the canon ending, anyways, the asteroid is on a collision course with Oceanus, and in the cutscene, right, you will see like a small like bomb flying into the asteroid before it's like teleported and warped out of space into a different dimension. Yeah, so you be playing this story, here from this point of view. And like in Wing Commander, right, a lot of the scenes they have like animations of people talking in 2D and stuff like that, pixel art, great pixel art. But I don't think I have the budget for that because from what I've written already, right, it's gonna be quite a fair few characters. So I'm gonna use a similar style where like Super Robot Wars or Super Robot Tyson back in the day. So they'll have like portraits of the character when they're talking and then and stuff like that, and maybe like a picture. Basically exactly like this. That's what I want to do for the talky bits in between missions and stuff like that. Crap. Okay, so combat. So combat, right? Again, right? I want to pay homage to all the games I mentioned earlier. Although I was like thinking, what kind of stuff I could introduce to make the game possibly, slightly more interesting. So I was thinking like, directional boosters. So it's like, if you got someone shooting, someone on your six, shooting you, right? You can just quickly like tap the booster or something like that, and then you just dodge to the side or something like that, and maybe I was thinking maybe you can have another tap to like spin spin your ship like 180 degrees, and then you'll be facing them or stuff like that. Right now I'm just gonna do like the booster's gonna be like up, down, left, right. So yeah, but like I was thinking again, right? Like in actual combat in the other three games, right? If you add this booster system, right? There's no real point really. It's like sure, I can like in those old games, right? You're face to face with another fighter and you're just shooting your guns. Another sure, I can just fire off like an alpha strike and then just dodge to the side. But I was like, can I utilize it in a different way? So I was thinking, cause so in the game, right? I was thinking like certain projectiles and stuff like that, right? They will your heads up display, right, will give you like a warning, like it's coming directly at you, and then you can use that to dodge and stuff like that. So yeah, okay. So this middle one maybe is not the best what do you call it, rendition of it, but basically I want to say is like you have this gigantic asteroid coming and then it overlays its path so that you can get out of it. So in this case, right, you probably can just just maneuver your ship and get out of it. It's fine. But let's say you're head on with another ship, right, and then they are. So I don't maybe for like energy cannons, right, this system will not turn on. But if they are firing, for example, like dumb fire missiles or some sort of thing that's coming towards you, right, you can the heads up display will actually show incoming something, incoming projectile or something like that, and gives you a chance to dodge. So it's like very quick reaction, something that you need quick reaction to perform together with the boosters, right, in order to like dodge and stuff like that. So yep. So this is an idea. I'm sure someone's already thought about it, but I probably haven't played their game yet. So okay. So what I'm currently working on is the game design document. I think I've been working for it about 8-9 days so far. I think the main, like last week, right? The main thing I've been working is on the rough outline for the overall story. So the story is very simple: travel to Akuji, save the scientists, get them back. And I fleshed out all the obstacles and events that you are going to experience as you travel towards the asteroid and back and stuff like that. And I have also a few key characters, mainly the captains of the ship. How they interact and stuff like that, and why they split up. So that is done, at least the rough outline, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's not super good or anything. It's not groundbreaking, I can tell you. With me, one person doing that, but I find it interesting, and I can't wait to actually play and experience the story myself. But I still need to write the dialogue, figure out motivations for stuff. Like I think the bulk of the motivations are done. It's like individual character motivations in the story, like your wingmates and stuff like that. Not the overarching motivations of why people are doing this and stuff like that. And so now that the outline is done, probably tomorrow I'm going to take some time to figure out, like estimate how many 3D assets I will need And I also need to come out with all the various, once I got an assets determined, right? Or at least an estimate for the asset, I can come up with all the different designs for, the ships, the space stations, stuff like that. And okay, I say that make the game, right? But after that, I will probably write, you know, write the whole dialogue out, like the dialogue in between missions and stuff like that, as well as during combat. Then that way I can find out, how much voice acting is needed and how many character portraits and stuff like that I need. And yeah, this is going to be a big one. So, okay, right now it's today. Oh, it's the 5th of March. So it's the 5th of March today. It's and yeah, I want originally I was gonna give myself like 8 months because I think I finished Akuji for around 6-7 months. Yeah, can't remember. So I was like, probably want to get the same time finish another game like my previous one, right? But after I did the outline, I was like, this is a lot of assets, and I'm not gonna sure how long it's gonna take me to actually, program the combat and stuff like that. Oh, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna target a launch, no, like a demo launch at Steam Next Fest in February next year. And once I'm really hoping to finish the game like before Next Fest, so I just launched the demo, and then 3-4 weeks after that, right, I can launch the full game on Steam and itch after. Yep. So that's the plan. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing like devlogs that much because like I like I'd rather be spending my time working on a game or playing games than doing a devlog. So we'll see. Hope you folks have a good night and yeah, have a good year ahead.